Hiya guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another Retro Adventures. And this is part of the series where instead of following the polls, I'm actually looking at adventures from the very early part of role-playing to see how they started to format them, how they started to put together the ideas to pass on to games masters to run them in their own games. Now this time I'm going to be covering this, Valley of the Mists for Bushido. Now this is from 1982, perhaps, but we'll come on to that in a second. And is one of these very early adventures, where they hadn't learned how to present everything. And while it's got everything in there for you to present an adventure, I feel it's formatted quite oddly. But let's go over to the desktop and have a look at Valley of the Mists. So, this is Valley of the Mists. It's an adventure for the Bushido role-playing game. It came out from Fantasy Games Unlimited, and everything tells me it came out in 1982. When you look up online, other people have reviewed it, says 1982, Wikipedia says it's 1982, even the copyright date inside here says 1982. But I doubt that, because the same person who wrote it did the lovely cover art, and they have dated their painting 1983. So what I think is the adventure was written in 1982, then the cover was done in 83 and it would have been released after that, unless some kind of time travel was possible. But that's just my assumption. It's entirely possible he just wrongly dated his painting. Made a mistake there. Now, this is an adventure pack. It's not just a singular adventure. It details, well, I say details, it briefly goes over a region and then goes on to 3 adventures. And again, I say 3 adventures, but I actually mean 2, because the final 2 adventures are just halves of the same adventure. You could not play the final adventure without playing the one before it. So, it's kind of misleading what it is, but it is interesting. Now, let's have a look at the back cover. So, Valley of the Mists, come visit Hida Province in the land of Nippon. Be wary though, for all is not well. The ruling clan is not as secure as they would wish. Enemies surround them on all sides, and perhaps even lurk within their domain. Mystery, magic, and menace await the bold adventurers who shall eventually descend into the Valley of the Mists. Valley of the Mists is the first adventure pack for use with Bushido. It's not a complete game. Fantasy Game Unlimited's Bushido is necessary for play. It contains 3 interrelated adventures which take place in and around Hida Province. Background material concerns that the province is presented as well. Special bonuses include several new legendary beings and new form of magical skill, T-Magic. So we delve into the book. The artwork I like. It's by Bob Charette, the entire design, the writing of it, and he's a known quantity. He's done loads of really good stuff. Especially some of the early Shadowrun stuff. An excellent creator, although I wasn't aware that he did artwork as well. A multi-skilled man. We've got talking about a multi-part Bushido adventure, contents page, and then we've got initial information. Now, much of Bushido is based about rumours. The legendary version of Japan that it's based in has rumours and stories in it. And often these are untrue. You know, all of the rumours in a table will be false. They're just the stories which are going around to set up the mythos of what's happening. They're just what people are claiming that's happening. The truth may be very, very far away from these. So we've got the initial region and some rumours about that. Then we've got a map of the Hida Province. It's not very detailed, but it lays it out. And then we get introduced to the Hida Province. The different clans, the Ushima clan, the Tadamasa clan, the Sakawa clan. Other clans based in it. We've got the cities based around, shrines, points of interest. And that is us over with it. In a map and 3 pages, we've got all the background information we're going to get. However, for an adventure, this is quite nice, because it allows the world around the adventure to be fleshed out. Also, because this is 1982 and writing adventures isn't really a known quantity, people are still learning formatting and learning from each other. While this is a very advanced adventure, quite detailed, its formatting's quite odd, because we've got starting the adventure, getting them involved. Plain enough. The rumours for different classes, what they will hear. Getting involved, and this lays out all the adventure, but doesn't really detail anything more. because after that it's just the locations where it takes place. So the story is the players get hired by a merchant to find a missing box. Now, the merchant wants this back on the cheap, especially as he works for the Yakuza. So he's a criminal. And his plan is to send one of his retainers along with the players as a guide. And when the players are wounded from fighting to retrieve the box, he will backstab them, kill them, and take the box. But hopefully the players will be smart enough to survive this, but will know they've been betrayed. And it details, while they can go smashing in there and fighting it, they'll have the Yakuza out to get them as well. They'll be breaking the law, they'll be the ones who look like criminals. But if they do their research and look into him being Yakuza, they can report him to the authorities and turn things round on him. And the rest of the adventure after this point is just detailing where things happen. So we've got Makoto's mansion. Oh, I forgot to mention, I really like one of the touches up here, when the players turn up to take the mission, that the merchant won't be available to see them that day, no matter when they turn up, because he spends the next 24 hours researching them, so when he goes into the meeting, he knows everything about them. I really like that idea that the person who's hiring them, who's going to betray them, is smart enough to do his research first. But no matter when they turn up, they'll be delayed by 24 hours. But they turn up to the hiring, and we've got the detailing of his mansion. But of course, this is where they'll come back to get revenge later, possibly. So it details all the activity at the mansion, what happens at night. So if they're trying to sneak in to get him, we know all this information. It lays everything out. And then we've got the information about the treasure box and the raid on Shimi's lair, the person who has the treasure box. And that's laid out. And that's the end of the adventure. We've got everything detailed up first, and then the locations used later on, including one location which is going to be double used. A really oddly formatted adventure. Now, on to the second adventure, or the first half of the second adventure, the Daimyo's Peril. Now this, the players are contracted because the local daimyo is ill. There's lots of rumours about it. Some rumours say he's dead, some say he's faking it. But he's ill, and the players have to look for the source of this. Now they can question him, they can visit specific places. We've got some maps of different areas here. And we've got Yumai's lair, where they're hinted that it's going to be the local sort of goblins, the Bekemono. And they will go in there, they will fight the goblins, and they will find out that the goblins are totally innocent of it. And that's the end of this adventure. They've done some research, but they find the link on to the problems coming from the Valley of the Mists. So the first adventure is just them doing some research and going into a goblin lair, which is nothing to do with the main part of the adventure. The second part of the adventure, or the third adventure as it claims to be in the book, Valley of the Mists, is them going into the valley itself. Shrouded in mist, there's various rumours and encounters about it. Superimposed on the map of the valley is a web pattern. This represents an occult matrix constructed by Arit. Now, Arit is the main villain of it all. And Arit, we find out from their character what their plan is, because it doesn't detail it in the first part, it doesn't detail it in the second part. We've got different locations and different encounters the Arit's lair will encounter. And then we're on to the cast of characters. And amongst all of these characters, we've got Arit. And it mentions that Arit's ability, Arit's spell, once a week, Arit visits Fujito in astral form. Her precautions are elaborate. She cloaks her appearance so none in astral plane may see her clearly. She's woven an astral web to prevent her being followed when she returns to her lair. Through the agency of a normal-sized spider, Fujito is injected with a sorcerously enhanced venom. The small amount of spider venom is undetectable. It's a focus through it. Arit's spell works. Each visitation reduces the victim's strength. When it is reduced to 0, the daimyo will die. When Arit is killed, the effect will wear off at a rate of 2 points of strength regained in a week of complete rest. The spell is a special kind of dark magic that may not be countered. The source must be destroyed. If Arit is prevented from visiting the daimyo, his condition will not worsen, but he will get no better either.
And it's within that it details the whole plan. It doesn't lay it out anywhere else. We've got to look up the villain to find out what they're doing. So all the adventure information for the adventures in here, it's just not laid out in a conventional format. We've got nice layers for us to fight, lots of interesting villains to face off against, with interesting backgrounds. We've got new legendary beings in the appendice, and we've got the tea magic detailed here. But the adventure itself is kind of weirdly formatted. There's lots of information in here, there's lots of really interesting stuff to do in here. But you basically have to read it cover to cover to find out what's going on.
So that was Valley of the Mists. And there's some great stuff in there. I really like the adventures as they've formatted it. There's some brilliant encounters. It's just that the formatting is a little bit weird. The first adventure, the way it gives you the entire plot, and then it gives you the encounters second, kind of makes sense in its own way. And you could publish something like that today without people commenting on it being a bit weird. But the fact that the second adventure is split in two in a very arbitrary way, plus the entire reason that everything's going on is hidden in the description of a power of the bad guy in the second adventure. So if you play them as written in the book, so you read up on the second adventure to run it, you have no idea what's going on. You have to have read the entire book before you know why things in the second book or second adventure are happening. So it seems a little odd. It seems very much still like notes you would make for yourself, which many of these early adventures do. But there's a lot to love in there. It's an absolutely great adventure, or campaign pack, or adventure pack, or whatever they wanted to call it at the time. But anyway, as usual, I think I've been wittering on for quite long enough. So thank you very much for watching. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.